Well, Trump won, so I'm just documenting my feelings today. Just because a friend of mine who I love to death in many ways, but he's definitely not a Trump or Republican fan. So, but I've known him for years, worked with him in a department at the hospital initially, and he's just fun to talk to. He's kind of gone off the rails a little bit, but kind of in a fun way and stuff, and easy for me to say. But he was just bringing up about Trump's lies and he had no plans and stuff. I'm like, well, can't say I love Trump. I get a kick out of Trump, and when they say lies, I'm like, well, more like exaggerations, which are just kind of funny sometimes. I mean, we all know he's not the greatest. We all know not everybody wanted Roe versus Wade overturned within the government setting. Stuff like that, he's just more grandiose and stuff. But it's like he had no plans and stuff, and it was just kind of funny to think about. Like, well, the other side seemed to, just play up that Trump's just awful, a racist, Hitler admire, and everybody's a sexist, racist, ignorant, misinformed, ill-informed, um, or I don't know, or just vote party lines no matter what. So, but I gotta say, the last 3 years, I'm like, well, I know it's not all Biden and Kamala's fault by no means. I mean, the COVID thing just threw things off. It was an unknown, kind of like back in the mid '80s when AIDS came along, and people didn't know, so people were scared, right? Can you get it from a toilet seat? Can you this and that? And you got to be in the moment then. And I was young, but to understand the fear there, and now it's easy to look back and say, a bunch of idiots, that were in fear. But COVID kind of similar in my head based on that history of AIDS or HIV. Um, and we didn't know, and it wasn't handled perfectly, but how could it be? By Trump at the end, but Trump was trying to be a realist, like, whoa, wait a minute. The world's not ending. We're not all dying. Now we could have been. And then, it got politicized. I mean, we all know it on each side. So Biden got in. I'm going to switch arms here, sorry. Um, and let's try not to get too much light reflection, sorry. Um, but anyway, it went the way it did. Inflation went up. I mean, you print money, you make certain decisions, you support wars. I mean, I guess we've always supported all the wars all over the world and stuff, but things will go askew. But it's no doubt that prices went up. The border got kind of out of hand. We started going crazy about the whole gender thing. So back to the point where my buddy there's like, well, what plans does Trump have? He doesn't have any plans. They keep talking about Kamala. I said, well, the plans I see is pretty obvious, I thought. Reenact the laws that were taken away or expired about the border. We all love people and immigrants, and it gets blown out of hand, blown out of proportion about illegals versus legals, and that we do need structure at the border. So reenact all that stuff, screen people, and him saying, "Oh, we're gonna deport 50 million illegal aliens." We all know. I guess not all of us know, but exaggeration. That's not going to happen. So, is it a lie? Yeah, I guess technically, but we just know. How are you going to do that? Well, obviously you go after the criminals, right? What are criminals? Well, the documented ones, which are, a handful, obviously quite a few. So you go after that, and you just kind of move forward, and then focus on those laws to shut down the border to some degree. This and that, but also focus on energy here in the United States, right? So oil, this and that. We all care about the environment, and we all understand global warming, however they want to phrase it. But it's not going to end in a year or two. It could, but that's been pushed for years. But focus on energy here, oil, and this and that, which in turn would bring down gas prices, which in turn brings down everything. That's how it works. Transport, right? Jobs and this and that. So get out of these wars overseas and or support a resolution that would help minimize the usage of all this money that we send over and lives in some ways. Okay, so that's his plan, is to say, let's get out of it. Now, no one's going to be happy no matter what, but how's it going now? Millions of dollars being shipped, lives being taken over there on both sides. The whole Israel, the Middle East thing, I mean, we all know how long those wars have been going on and stuff. So so printing money to pay for everything for everybody, kind of a socialist point of view, won't do good for the economy. But if we cut cost within the government, a lot of waste and spending, the whole wars thing, the border issues, that'll help with tax cuts. That'll help with keeping inflation from going back up. So, okay, that's how I see it. So those are the plans. And he hired two geniuses. Not one of them I kind of like. The other one I'm skeptical on. And another pick or two of Trump's I'm a little skeptical on. But back to two geniuses that'll look into the waste of the government. Okay, well, I'm hopeful that they'll do things, but it's a plan, and he got right on it, saying, I'm hiring these two people to do this. I'm going to get these laws back for the border. I'm going to drill, baby, drill. Like I said, within reason for energy costs. So he has plans. He has the plans I care about. And I think it's come up that, probably not the best idea to allow, this is going to be a touchy subject, but boys and girls locker rooms. So let alone sports. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. Now there's variables there. Oh, what if, only if they take hormones or a year being transitioned or whatever. That just gets fuzzy and it's blown out of whack on both sides. I just come on. I might be a little biased. I have 3 girls. I'm like, yeah, it's such a small part of the population. Why make it a big deal? And I know there's issues. Like I said, it's touchy, and no offense. I really don't mean offense. So, yeah, he has plans and this and that. And then Kamala, as I know her now, she's flipped on pretty much everything. And that's fine. You can evolve, right? She kind of said that. Try to explain that. And I'm good with that. It doesn't seem genuine. I guess a lot of people thought it didn't seem genuine. Trump, what's he flipped on, really? Abortion? Which I'm all for. Sorry. A lot of people are. So he's backed off of abortion, the Achilles heel of the Republican Party. Making a point, no national abortion ban at all, or he doesn't support it. You gotta watch the verbiage there on both sides, but he wouldn't support it, he doesn't support it, and he's all for the exceptions. Okay, and they keep claiming and lying in ads and everything that he didn't say it, or he doesn't mean it. I'm like, well, he said it. I guess we could argue Kamala says things now too. But thing that got me with Kamala, the lies, of course. I mean, actual lies, like Waltz holding a gun in war. That's a little different than saying I'm the greatest businessman ever, and we had the best economy ever during my president. Grandiose exaggerations. I know, technically lies, but what was the thing I was going to get to? So, and Kamala printing tons of money. Oh, let's give you money and let's save women's rights were basically her two main things, right? Environment didn't come up, democracy came up, but she got placed in there, and democracy's not going to fall. I mean, yeah, we can go back and talk about that one day of January 6th. Don't get me going on that. Protests got out of hand, blah, blah, blah. But the abortion thing, and then, printing tons of money and saying the rich will pay for it, the top 1%, the top 1 to 10%, let's say that. They're going to pay for all these tax credits, this money we're going to get for everybody's first houses. Oh, and we're going to pay for colleges whose tuition is just out of whack. Let's not band-aid these problems. Let's give a ton of money to small businesses, and the top 1 in 10% will cover it. That's not going to cover it unless you take care of government spending, which Trump is doing, but she never said much about that I know of. It's all about the rich need to pay their fair share. Well, what's their fair share? Should we have just a flat tax? Because I know the lower income people don't pay any taxes, right? Under 30,000. I don't know the number, but should we have a flat tax? Of course, businesses, they create jobs. It's a fact. They create opportunities. They create new machines, new technology to keep up with the. Yeah, they make money. Trust me, none of us like the rich to some degree, and they could do better, but that's a hard one to dictate. So when you're saying, well, we're going to take all that money and give it to all these people, which would be my daughters. Hey, girls, buy your first house, buy us a retirement home. Yeah, that doesn't compute to me. I could be wrong. So now 4 years is going to go by. Each administration doesn't hold accountability for everything that happens, and it falls over from the previous this and that, but it's 4 years. We're going to see in 4 years. I doubt Trump's going to end the world. I have a feeling he's going to do better than his first 4 years without a COVID issue, unless something like that comes up, just because he learned, He is a businessman. He has been successful. All the negatives, all the positives. You kind of know where he stands. He's kind of I gotta be careful here. I don't know what's right or wrong, kind of an a-hole, sometimes, but I kind of know where he stands. I kind of like to know who's shooting me in the foot with certain comments or beliefs. And he hits both sides. So the whole sexism, racism thing kind of cracks me up. Probably didn't do well. Switching again. Sorry. A week from working out here a little bit ago. Yeah, kind of know where he attacks both sides. It don't matter gender, race. I mean, obviously when he talks about the border or crap hole nations or cities and stuff, or the dominant population or the dominant population that's causing the crimes is a certain race or gender, not really gender, but then you can focus on that. But he'll hit you either way, and he's attacked both sides, and a lot of Republicans will flop over. So a lot of people kind of like that, like, oh, okay, so he's not the almighty and his whole party follows him, and I think that actually helps, where they're like, hey, there's some discourse there, so he's more bipartisan than others that way. Is that a weird way of thinking about it? Point being, Trump won. He does have plans. Might not agree with them fully. We'll see, because the whole tariff thing on other countries. Yeah, the left put it as, a national tax on everybody. Well, it means prices will go up. This is how I see it. It'll make prices go up. Like on my toy collecting, I'll just buy less, or I'll buy more toys or collectibles here in the States. It'll cost more, so I guess it's a tax, but more things will be made here, or more things will be sold here in the U.S. So a little ambivalent, but I'll sacrifice it. But again, I'm in my 50s, so I can make those calls because I've saved, and I've made it through the beginning of life. So so that's a little fuzzy. So he's got plans, and I think overall decent plans. So we'll see. 4 years will go by. I doubt the world will end. We'll see if any good's done. Obviously, things needed to change. One of my favorite sayings is, if nothing else Trump did, he called out the media. We'll say the media, the fake news, which the Democrats actually coined, which is kind of funny. Not everybody pays attention to things, but and I miss a lot, I'm sure. But yeah, the media. If nothing else, you call out the media, which is ridiculous. It's biased. They say they're not. I mean, it's not even an argument to get into and stuff. So, so hopefully that'll get better. Saying, yeah. let's be a little fair here. Let's. Okay, I'm going off. Video's getting too long. I'm trying to keep it under 15 minutes when I do these things, more so for documentation. Um, I'm going to enjoy my day off, and yeah, you guys too. Thanks.